Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Jack and Joe show. And it gives me great pleasure to be back, Jack. How are you doing?
Yes, very well. Welcome back, Joe. It's great to see you. And it wasn't great to see Fulham at the Cottage on Saturday, a 4-0 defeat to Manchester City. And I didn't get to see you either.
No, double whammy of negatives, really, because what a game I picked to review to be back, by the way, because the last few weeks have been pretty uneventful, and I picked the one where we got absolutely trounced. But Jack, before we get into the game, I haven't forgotten our duties.
Yes.
So a quick word from our sponsor before we get started.
Yeah, and I've just realised today is Tuesday. We're filming the night of the big one, Tottenham against Manchester City. Go down to a Green King pub to watch that one if you want to, because I definitely am. King's Head tooting. I will be there no matter what. It's such a massive game. It feels like a sort of pub occasion, not just sitting on my sofa watching it, scrolling through X or Twitter. So, like every Jack and Joe show, we are sponsored by Green King, where football is more than a game. Green King is the best place to watch any of the football for the remainder of the season. There's not long to go, of course, but we've still got playoffs to decide. And, I've been through it, finals and Champions League final and Europa League final and Conference League final. They have over 900 pubs across the UK. So you're probably within walking distance of a Green King pub, like I am, the Prince of Wales, like you are, the Prince of Wales in Wimbledon, which, by the way, is still closed. It's getting done up at the moment, all ready for the Euros. So I'm very excited to see what they've done with the place. Grab your friends and family, head to your local Green King Sport pub. You'll be helping out Fulhamish by doing that as well. We don't know what's going to be on the box this weekend, do we?
It could be anything. We do know the title race will go down to the final day, regardless of what happens tonight at the time of filming. But obviously, if Man City win, it may be a bit of a non-event. They may choose to go for some of maybe the race for Europe in terms of like Europa League, Conference League, Chelsea game, United game. It's unfortunate how exciting things looked, and we're saying this before knowing what happens in the Tottenham Man City game, but it would be a shame if everything was wrapped up before the final day, because as we'll go on to speak about with our opponents, it looks like that might be the case for Luton versus Forest, for example, in terms of that fight for 17th. One thing's for sure is that the Luton Fulham game will not be on the box, but we know that there will be. So if you want to get there for the final day action, they'll have split screen. It'll be fantastic. But then we've got the playoffs coming up as well, Jack. We've got constant coverage of those that you can go and see, because even though the regular season is ending, this is almost where the fun begins. So it should be a great summer.
It wasn't so fun sitting on my sofa watching 3 games, seeing a 0-0, a 0-0, and a 1-0 on Sunday. The playoffs did not come to life in the first leg of the championship. However, we've still got the second legs, and that's where the real fun happens. Actually, I'm going to see the Fulham under-21s at Craven Cottage on Thursday. So if anyone hasn't got their ticket, it's only £3 for an adult, £1 for over 65s, £1 for under 18s as well. We're playing the under 21s. They're playing Spurs. Kick off at 7 p.m. at the Cottage. And Leeds versus Norwich is an 8 p.m. kickoff. So I will be swiftly out the ground to clap the players off, obviously, for their efforts in the final. Maybe see a trophy left, who knows? But then straight to the Golden Line to watch the finale of the Leeds-Norwich game. And then, of course, the night afterwards, we've got Southampton hosting West Brom on the Friday night. It's very, very exciting. But Joe, do we have to talk about Man City at home, or can we just go straight to Luton? Because
Man City we've got to mention it happened, but that's basically it, isn't it?
I thought it wasn't a 4-0 game, but then again, Man City did dominate proceedings. I spoke with Sammy about it after the game on the quick take, so I'd like to hear your take on the game, please.
Yeah, I mean, for 10 minutes, I thought we did very, very well. And that's how we should have approached the game. We pressed with intensity. We limited them to any efforts at all. I mean, I know we didn't have any ourselves in that period, but on the break, we looked quite promising, getting into a few decent crossing positions, and the final ball wasn't really there. As soon as Vardiol scored, which was a good individual goal, the defending was a bit lax, but ultimately sometimes you have to just admit that it was a good finish and a good move, a good turn. When all of that's going against you, there's only so much you can do. But after that, we didn't have a sniff, did we? I mean, the rest of the first half, I thought we defended okay. limited City to any massive chances, or at least a limited amount of them. There was the one from Akanji, which I don't know if he was offside or not in the end. I know the flag went up, but I don't know if it was confirmed. Haaland was kept relatively quiet by a combination of Bassi, but mostly Diop, who I thought had a good first half. And then second half started about the same, in my opinion, where we were keeping them relatively quiet without actually looking like getting back in the game. And we had that one moment when Traore crossed and Muniz sort of flicked it. Our only effort on goal in the whole game. Don't tell Garth Crooks that, because for some reason he's put Edison in his team of the week, which is just absolutely hilarious. I think that for literally picking the ball up. I mean, I could have picked it up. I think Muniz did quite well to get something on target, but even so, as soon as that didn't go in and they went down the other end and Foden scored, game, set, match, purely damage limitation, and we didn't do that very well at all, to be honest. I thought that City didn't get out of second gear the whole game and still made us look very silly. Part of that is due to the quality gap. Part of that's due to they had everything to play for. We had nothing to play for. I do still think that as professional footballers, you don't want to get heavily beaten. I don't think any Fulham players were like, the second one's gone in, we don't care. But ultimately, there's only so much you can do when you physically cannot get on the ball. Yeah. I thought the substitutions at halftime were a welcome addition from Marco. I thought that it was great to see Kearney and Traore come on. They were two of the changes I thought we should make. It didn't make a massive difference, in all honesty, which is a shame, but I thought that the thinking behind them was right. Kearney to hopefully try and keep the ball, and Traore to push City back and just give them something to think about that isn't Iwobi or Willian sort of meandering towards them at a snail pace. Something that makes them think, oh my goodness, I don't want him running in behind me. But ultimately, it was a very underwhelming performance, underwhelming game. But I always feel like that against City. And that was the case even last year when we lost 2-1. It's just, I'm prepared to lose before we go into the game, which is very boring. And that's no disservice to them. They are exceptional at football. And it's not the style that I most enjoy watching in the world, in terms of sometimes it can look quite slow. But when you're seeing it in the flesh, it is so impressive. And my dad was pointing it out that sometimes they're not even looking. They fire a ball out to the wing because they know someone's going to be there. It's almost positionally, they are almost perfect. And, as much as I go to football to enjoy fast, I like counter-attacking football, exciting to watch, quick, everyone getting off their feet in the hammy ends as it comes forward, like that one move that we did have at the start of the second half. Sometimes you have to just admire it, and they've got some fantastic players. We were well beaten. Couldn't really care less other than that.
Yeah, it had that fear. I think the mood in the atmosphere was really good. First 10 minutes, I have to say, the sun was shining. Everyone was in a good mood. Lots of retro shirts were on display as well. Love to see that. My highlight of the day was, of course, the lap of appreciation at the end. Not many Fulham fans stayed behind for it, and I think that's understandable with the game dwindling out. But also, maybe some people just forgot it was even happening.
Yeah.
And obviously they go down the tunnel and they come back out. So you've got to wait around for 20 minutes or so at least. And it was really nice. It was really cool. I mean, all the players appreciating all the kids on the pitch, and they seem to enjoy themselves. Paulinia, I missed the one last season because I was working, so I had to go down for the press conferences against Palace. So I really wanted to stay behind for this one. And Marco Silva clapping the fans, Ruben Morte, of course, who's now leaving the club after the next game against Luton, the final game against Luton, which we should probably go on to talk about now. We thought this could be a big humdinger. If Luton had beaten West Ham at the weekend, I'd be 10 times more excited for this game than I am currently. However, it's not really about Luton, it's about Fulham on this particular channel. What do you want to see in this final 90 minutes that's different from what you saw in the previous game, or just complete rotation? Or are we just going to try and end on a strong result? That really didn't make any sense, but what do you think?
It makes sense to me. Yeah, I want to see some rotation. I want to see some players that have either been less involved or maybe are younger, or, for some of it might be their last time in a Fulham shirt. We're probably having a big summer of change. one of the big wins from the City game, and there weren't many, was that Palhinha avoided a booking, which means that he now cannot get suspended for 3 games next season if he's still with us, which we hope he will be. Obviously, he could get sent off against Luton, but that should only be 1, unless he does something fucking crazy. And in that case, it's just his own fault. So, I mean, Diop getting sent off, which, by the way, can I just say, I know that you shouldn't take into account what time of the game it is or the context. Why is he sent him off? Like, come on. Like,
it was a second booking, though.
It was a second booking, but, like, did it need to be? Is every foul a yellow card? I didn't think that was, personally. And it was like, it's the 96th minute of the game. We are 3-0 down. There is 1 game of the season left. You've given him a second yellow. Honestly, why? Because I'll tell you this right now, and I honestly stand by this. If that was at the other end and we were 3-0 up and Ruben Diaz did that, he's not getting a second yellow.
Okay.
100% sure. 100%
sure. I agree. I agree.
Why is my head hot? I don't know, because I don't really care that much, but I just thought it was silly.
So what does that mean then? Who comes in?
Well, that's the thing, because I don't want to see Ream and Bassi together because it gives me PTSD of Spurs away. I would love to see Defugerol get a run out if he's fit. I think that would be fantastic. If not, then it has to be Ream, and that has sentimental meaning. Obviously, it could be one of his final games in the Fulham shirt. We don't know what's going to happen over the summer. I think there's a few other players where you have to give them a run out because they're out of contract. I'd love to see Ballo-Touré not necessarily start, but get some action. Willian, Bobby Reed is out of contract. I think the only one that I wouldn't start is Marek Rodak, and that's no disservice to him, but I would start Leno. I feel like we might end up renewing Rodak anyway. But I think it would be really fun to have some youngsters involved. I don't know if we will, but if we were going to have any, I'd love it to be Defugerol. Are there any midfielders that could come in potentially? It's a shame that King's injured, because that would have been a fantastic opportunity for him to get some action. I just hope it's a really fun game. I really hope that we see some just exciting attacking football in a game which is pretty meaningless to both now. We're not going to lose 10-0. Forest aren't going to win 10. Forest aren't going to win 10-0. Luton aren't going to lose 10-0. Wait, no, other way around completely. All I know is that neither of these teams are losing or winning by a 10-goal margin this weekend, which means that relegation will not be decided by anything other than the fact that we will technically relegate Luton, which is very interesting because after that infamous prediction that was on the overlap, I think.
I was going to mention
the overlap tweet, no comment, but hold that sincerely. I'm just excited for a pretty meaningless game, Jack. What about you? It gives me Southampton vibes from last season.
No, completely. There is quite a nice feeling about going to the away game, knowing that there's nothing on it. And you can just literally have fun, drink beer and enjoy yourself and not really care too much about the result. That Luton prediction was something I was going to sort of bring up. Although I've all season wanted Luton to stay up just because there are teams where I'd rather go down ahead of them. I've seen Forest and Brentford and maybe even Everton, because sometimes it's quite cool to see big clubs get relegated.
I know what you mean.
It would have been cool to see Fulham get relegated, and we're a massive club. So, so a quick lineup and then a score prediction, and then we'll wrap up early today.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I'm sort of contradicting myself, but I am going Leno in goal.
Right.
I'll put Tete at right back because we don't know what's going on with his contract, and it could be the last time we see him. And I'm gonna say Bassi and Luke Defugerol at centre back, and I would love to see Ream at least come on at some point. That's what I would like to see. You know what? I'm just going to give Ballo-Touré the start at left back. I'd be quite keen for us to explore a permanent deal, because I think that when he's come on, he's looked really good. And it's been limited in terms of Premier League, but in the Cups, he was a massive help in our Carabao Cup run in particular, especially in the earlier rounds. In midfield, Palhinha, no-brainer for me. I would love to see Kearney get a start from the off in this one. And the final position, I'm not too sure. I haven't been overly impressed with Iwobi in the last few weeks, so I might just give it to Andreas Pereira in that attacking role. On the left wing, I'd go with Willian. Maybe the last time we see him in a Fulham shirt, we're not too sure. And on the right wing, I'm going with Bobby Reid, even though I absolutely thought he honked on the weekend. I just think it could be his last game in a Fulham shirt as well.
Yeah.
Up front, I know it could be Broziers, but I wouldn't start him. I know it could be Jimenez's, but I wouldn't start him. Muniz.
Muniz.
Yeah.
This whole Brozier thing actually quite irritated me when he came on at the weekend because I was like, there's just no point.
I'm not gonna lie, that sub made no sense to me whatsoever because Muniz was doing all right.
Yeah. I think it maybe just give Brozier a run out, but the thing is, no one benefits from that because we're not signing him. I do think that loan, I wouldn't say that loan's been a disaster because it was Muniz's form that basically kept him out the team, which is fine. A score prediction.
You know what? Last day of the season, there are going to be goals. There is going to be chaos. I'm going weird. 4-2 to Fulham in this one.
I was going to say 4-2.
No way.
Yeah. 2-4.
2-4. Exactly.
Luton 2, Fulham 4. It's like one of those really weird topsy-turvy games.
Yeah.
There will be loads of goals, surely.
Yeah. There's going to be a weird moment when we're 3-2 up and Woodrow should equalise for Luton. And then Money Moon is
down the other end.
Yeah.
That sounds very fun. Very fun in the sun. Hopefully it's sunny. We shall see. Right. Last question. Playoffs. Who's winning them? Who's winning all the playoffs?
All the playoffs. You go first while I think.
Okay, so League Two final, Crawley Crew. I think it's so difficult. They both had absolutely stunning second legs and first leg Crawley. I think it will be Crawley will win the League Two playoff final. League One, Bolton, Oxford. I mean, for obvious reasons, I do not want Bolton winning for obvious YouTuber horrible reasons. So I want Oxford to win. So I'm going to say Oxford. Okay. And I think Leeds at home to Norwich, they should win, but they might not win, knowing what Leeds do. Southampton at home. I think West Brom are going to get to the final. I think they'll play Leeds in the final. I obviously don't want Leeds anywhere near the Premier League. So I'm going to say West Brom to win the playoffs.
Wow. I think out of the 4 teams in the Championship, that's the one I would like the most.
The Vine. It's all for the Vine.
Yeah, obviously. I think I agree with you on League Two. I think Crawley. I mean, I watched the second leg against MK Dons, and I just thought they were just very impressive. It's absolutely hilarious, as is the state of the ground. And the fan on Twitter that was saying, "Oh, you should have shown the stand that was open. It still looked half open." Do you know what I mean? Or should I say half closed? I think in League, I think Bolton will do it.
Yeah,
to be honest. So I'm going to say Bolton. I know what you mean about not wanting them to. I agree with you about, I think the winner's going to come from, in the Championship, the Southampton-West Brom tie, but I think it's going to be Southampton.
Okay.
I think them at home, I can see it being tight. I think I can see Carlos Corberán almost doing a bit of a masterclass to get through the 90 minutes. I think going into extra time at home, I can see them doing it. And then in a one-off game, I fancy them against the winner of either Leeds or Norwich, to be honest with you. So I think Southampton.
And finally, who wins the Premier League title?
City.
Yeah.
After what I saw the other day, all this talk about Tottenham, and this might age terribly, and if it does, very exciting final day, so I'm happy anyway.
Yeah.
But even if Tottenham were to play to try, as people are suggesting they won't, which they obviously will.
They will. Yeah.
So to me, that's meaningless if City turn up. And I know they've had a bit of a cursed record on this ground, but the way they're playing, I can't see anyone stopping them.
Thing is, like, if it's like a draw, if it's like 1-1, 0-0, 2-2, it's in Arsenal's hands.
It is. It's a final day shootout, isn't it, for the most goals?
It's massive, and it really is. You know, I wouldn't say I love either team. I think, you know, whatever. I support Fulham. We support Fulham. Yeah, I would like to see a different color of ribbon on the trophy this season. I think a different name engraved. Man City, Man City, Man City, Man City for the last 4 years. I know there was a lot of comments on the quick take, and that's fair enough. And Sammy was mainly the one who was saying it was quite boring, but also let's have another name. And thank God it's not Liverpool, because that would have been horrible on Klopp's. Could you imagine if they just they're like, oh yeah, the title was a huge game. The titles side is huge. Let's have Man City versus West Ham on Sky, and we'll have Arsenal versus Everton, but we'll also have Liverpool versus who they're playing, Wolves. Just because it's Klopp's last game. Who the fuck's going to watch that, honestly, apart from Liverpool fans? Right, let's end it there. We will be back for the final Jack and Joe show of the season, of the actual season, to review it all, Joe, to review the 4-2 win at Kenilworth Road and all the other 37 games plus cups. So that's exciting. That will be out next Wednesday. And then we're going to take a break.
Yeah. And
then it depends if there's big news and signings or something's happened that's massive. We will be there.
We will be there.
Yeah. You're going on holiday. I'm going on holiday. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. And then we'll be back, hopefully, sometime in July. Ready for it to all happen again. I think maybe we might do something for the fixture release day. 100%. You just never know. But then again, I need to talk to the upper echelons of Fulhamish. Joe, for the first time in what seems like forever, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks a lot, Jack. Good to be back. And thanks everyone for the support. And also thank you to Jack Stroudley for doing a fantastic job, as always, while I was not here. Please keep the engagement coming. What do you think the score will be on the final day? And also maybe just to preview into our next video, who do you want to sign this summer? Let us know. Maybe we could talk about it next week.
Oh, we will definitely be talking about the summer next week. Yeah. I'm very much excited for that. Yeah, massive thanks to Jack. He's absolutely brilliant. So he's going to go far in the game. So we're very grateful to him for stepping in when needed be. Thanks so much for watching the penultimate Jack and Joe show of the season. But we will be back next week to talk it all through once again. Thanks so much for watching. And for the last time this season, come on Fulham.